We've all heard the rumors the Bears are on the lookout for ways to improve the defense, and there's one name that keeps popping up. That name? Von Miller, a NFL veteran, two-time Super Bowl champion, and seven-time Pro Bowl selection. But does adding Miller to the roster make sense? Let's dive into why some people are urging the Bears to make this trade and whether it would actually help them take that next step in the NFC North. Before we get into the Von Miller talk, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. The Chicago Bears are in a great position to make a jump in 2025. General Manager Ryan Poles and head coach Ben Johnson have made it clear they're not afraid to be aggressive this offseason, and that's something Bears fans should be excited about. The Bears have already made some big moves. Just recently, Poles traded for two experienced guards, Jonah Jackson from the Los Angeles Rams and Joe Thuney from the Kansas City Chiefs. These trades are massive for the offensive line. Both of these players will provide much-needed protection for second-year quarterback Caleb Williams, who is going to be the future of this franchise. Improving the offensive line is key because it will help Williams develop, and it will also give the Bears a stronger chance to compete. But there's more to the story. While the offensive line is getting stronger, the defense still needs help. The Bears have made some progress on defense, but they still don't have that dominant, game-changing pass rusher that can take over a game. Enter Von Miller. This is where the conversation gets interesting. Now let's talk about Von Miller. He's a household name for a reason. Miller is one of the most accomplished pass rushers in NFL history. He's made 7 Pro Bowls, won 2 Super Bowls, and even took home the Super Bowl MVP award with the Denver Broncos. Miller has been a force for over a decade, and his leadership, toughness, and ability to change the course of a game are what make him so appealing to the Bears. But here's the thing. Miller isn't the same guy he once was. He's 35 years old now, and he's dealt with a string of injuries that have kept him from playing at the elite level we saw earlier in his career. In the past 3 seasons, Miller has posted just 14 sacks combined, which is a far cry from the seasons when he was racking up double-digit sacks every year. Despite that, there's still reason to believe that Miller could be an asset to the Bears. Why? Because even though he's no longer the dominant pass rusher he once was, he's still capable of making an impact. He's still got that veteran savvy, and he knows how to get to the quarterback. But more importantly, he could bring some much-needed experience and leadership to a defensive line that's still figuring out its identity. Now, let's talk about what the Bears would need to give up for Miller. The good news here is that the Buffalo Bills, the team Miller currently plays for, might be looking to release him. That could open the door for a trade. If the Bears were able to land Miller, it might not cost them much. We're talking about potentially sending a mid-round draft pick, maybe a 6th-round pick, in exchange for Miller. For a team like the Bears, who have plenty of cap space and are in need of pass rush help, this could be a no-brainer. Speaking of cap space, let's take a look at the financials. The Bears are sitting on a ton of cap space, about $80 million. That's right, $80 million in available funds. So when it comes to bringing in players like Miller, they've got more than enough room to make it work. Miller's contract still has a cap hit of about $8,400,000 for 2025. That's not an insignificant amount of money, but it's not a deal breaker for the Bears either. They have the flexibility to absorb that contract without putting their future plans in jeopardy. The question is Von Miller worth that $8,400,000? At 35 with injury concerns, is it worth paying that much for a rotational pass rusher? That's a tricky question, and it really depends on how the Bears view Miller's role on the team. If they see him as a situational pass rusher who can still contribute in short bursts, then maybe paying him that amount makes sense. But if they're hoping for a full-time starter, it's a different story. Now let's talk about the pass rush situation in Chicago. Last season, the Bears were 29th in the league in sacks. That's not going to cut it if they want to compete with the best in the NFC North. They need more pressure on the quarterback, and that's why adding a player like Miller could be crucial. But it's not just about having a guy who can get to the quarterback. It's about having a guy who can create opportunities for others on the defensive line. And that's where Miller could make a real impact. While he may not be the explosive force he once was, he still knows how to disrupt the quarterback's timing, force errant throws, and open up lanes for other pass rushers. Pairing Miller with Montez Sweat, who was acquired by the Bears last season, could give the Bears one of the more experienced and well-rounded pass rush duos in the league. Sweat is young and explosive, but adding a veteran like Miller would give the Bears the balance they need to have a successful pass rush rotation. But the question remains, is Miller the right guy for the Bears' long-term plans? While he could be an asset in the short term, the Bears need to think about the future as well. The NFL is a young man's league, and Miller, while experienced, might not be the long-term answer. The Bears might also want to explore other pass rush options, either through the draft or free agency, that could provide them with a younger, more explosive player who could grow alongside their defense. Another factor that can't be ignored is Miller's injury history. Over the past few years, he's dealt with a number of injuries, including a torn ACL in 2021 that kept him out for the majority of the season. While he's shown he can still play at a high level when healthy, it's fair to wonder how much longer he can stay healthy at his age. The Bears will need to take that into consideration when deciding whether to pull the trade on a trade. If the Bears do trade for Von Miller, what does that mean for the team? First and foremost, it would give the Bears a veteran presence on the defensive line, a player who has been there, done that, and knows what it takes to win in the NFL. Miller would instantly become a leader in the locker room, someone who could mentor the younger pass rushers and provide guidance as they continue to develop. But more importantly, Miller could provide the Bears with the kind of impact they need in critical moments. In big games, you need players who can step up and make plays when the stakes are highest. Miller has proven time and time again that he can do that. If the Bears are going to make a playoff run in 2025, they need a player like Miller who can change the course of a game with one big play. So what should the Bears do? Is trading for Von Miller the right move? It's a tough decision, but here's what I'll say. The Bears are in a great position right now. They've got cap space, they've got draft picks, and they've got a young quarterback in Caleb Williams who looks poised to lead this team for years to come. Adding Von Miller could be the missing piece in their defensive puzzle, but they've got to be smart about it. If they can get him for the right price and use him in a role that suits his skill set, it could pay off in a big way. But the Bears also have other options. They need to continue to be aggressive in the pass rusher market, whether it's through trades, free agency, or the draft. This offseason is shaping up to be an exciting one, and Bears fans have every reason to believe that 2025 could be the year we finally see this team compete at the highest level. What do you think, Bears fans? Should the Bears trade for Von Miller? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our coverage of the Bears offseason moves. We're just getting started.